Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Adin. I try to understand your questions. So the first is how to select, yeah,
Yeah.
how to select. The second is I'm not capture your question.
The second is provide some practical example.
For example,
Which one? Which one is the best option?
the best what? The best selection. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yes. Actually, as I show you that there are many, at least seven aspects that we need to consider. The first is the condition of the condition group and the need group, and then depends based on the condition and the needs. Then we need to see which technology that suitable for that case. For example, in the condition of, I think my presentation was also in the show the table example of the condition. For example, sorry, I need to see my notes. Okay. For example, for individual them, not series. Uh, in the medium, in the zone of running a transport zone, and there is it is named under the volcanic. That means sometimes maybe pyroclastic will reach that part. So, and maybe there is also water, perennial river. So every time there is water. So this means that we have we cannot select the metal, because if pyroclastic pass through that area, so the metal can settle them, or even the net barrier, as what this is the experience of Polytechnic Sabu in Semeru, when the pyroclastic reach that place. So the metal net will melting and destroy. So and also for perennial river, it may be for environmental consideration. Maybe there is a what is called biodiversity factor, that maybe some animals, water animals go up and down. So we have to select the structure that that allow them to, or is not disturb their condition. So we have to make open types of the Sabodem, and make the lower invert of the hull or slit, so that there is no high drops of the water. But in the condition when in the river there are already high drop, so maybe there is no animal go upstream. So we don't need to consider to have lower invert. But if we face the like sun manning problem, so we need to keep the invert of the hull or slit must be low to to let the higher size, the bigger size to to be able to transport it downstream to the structure. So I think this is my answer. Thank you.
Yeah, it is quite encouraging, Professor Adam, right? So, Adin, I think simulation through the numerical or mathematical simulation. I think both, not only numerical but also physical simulation. So it is expected that the way we select the type of the checksum is better because we have many changes to look at the condition, whether this is going to be used as, providing the system or the structure to release the sediment downstream, how much, which size, and so on. Yeah. So that's the idea. I think Professor Adam is still working hard on this consistently, but as he mentioned, it's still limited to the individual structure, not series of structure of the Sapu Dam. Okay, for this time being, I think it's enough, Adin. So
Yeah, thank you so much.
yeah, please welcome in my note here in Mr. Mumtaz Ali Kosi. Are you there? Okay.
Yes. I am Mumtaz Ali Qazi, Chief Engineer worked up from Pakistan. So my question is, how can emerging technologies like remote sensing, GIS, be effectively integrated into sediment disaster management to enhance the early warning system? So kindly.
Yeah, Mumtaz, what is your question addressed to?
My question is, how can emerging technologies like remote sensing and GIS be effectively integrated into sediment disaster management?
Yeah. So since you are not specifically mentioning the presenter to answer your question, so maybe I need some help from the presenter. Maybe Dr. Rayas. Yeah, please, if you can. Or maybe someone else.
I can do it.
Oh yeah, please.
Um,
Please. Thank you.
sorry, I was unmuted again. Anyway, as far as remote sensing information is concerned, we are using it. We are using it for, like for example, the figure I showed about Reming. We had a Sentinel Asia um satellite image given to us immediately, almost immediately after the Reming event, and we were able to identify where the lahar deposits went, and we were able to fast track where we should go as far as mapping is concerned by using the remote sensing information. So essentially, we do it pre, scene, and post when it's available. So availability is crucial to it. And essentially, Sentinel Asia gives us that when we request satellite data after a disaster, they give it to us and we analyze the information.
Yeah, okay. Is it the one you are saying the cost-effective method of the monitoring?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I hope it is answered, Mumtaz. Yeah, thank you very much for the participation. So yeah, allow me to move to another participants. Professor Waluyo Hatmoko. Yeah, please.
Thank you, Prof. Joko, for this kind opportunity. Hello, everybody. We are discussing the Sabu structure, while the nature-based solution and blue-green infrastructure have been gaining popularity in recent times. Yeah. I wonder, are there any blue-green infrastructure solution or hybrid infrastructure uh, example effectively used to mitigate debris flow? Thank you for any presenter who are willing to answer. Thank you.
For any presenter, SB here, not for moderator, right? So please welcome again. I need your help, Dr. Rayas.
Maybe an engineer is better equipped to do that, but we did have experience of monitoring diking systems, and essentially they're as good as they're being used because or misused. So essentially what problem we have with diking is piping. When you're because you have a dike, and then deposits are being laid down, so that the dike is the channel floor is now higher than the channel floor outside the diking system. And so piping occurs, and it becomes it essentially affects the integrity of the diking system. And then of course I mentioned about quarriers tending to quarry just beside the dike because it's the closest. So what happens is that it also undermines the flows because the river channel floor close to the dike where they are quarrying is lower than in the middle. So river channel the flows are going that way, and it also undermines the diking system. So uh, the and we don't have control of it. Scientists do not have control. We mentioned this to example, the stakeholders, the local governments units, that it's undermining the dike, but they're essentially they sometimes they don't have money, they don't have budget to repair or make changes, and also the fact that the local government has control of the quarrying. So they get money out of the quarriers. So having them do something that would essentially preserve the diking system sometimes are in conflict with their interest in the quarrying activity in their local area.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you, Dr. Rayas. I hope Professor Hatmoko satisfied with the answers. So in fact that there are many ways that the structures broken or damaged maybe. Yeah, I think this is one case that Dr. Rayas trying to explain to us. Is there any other question from the online participant? Azabul again. So please tell us, Azabul again, are you also Pakistani? Thank you. Your time. Oh, I see. Okay.
Hello.
Oh, there.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Actually, I forget to introduce myself. My name is Ashabul Kahfi. I'm from Gujarat Technological University in India. So actually, I'm studying in India now. I have a question for the Professor Adam. But before that, I want to say thank you so much for Miss Reyes. Your presentation today is very beautiful. You explain about the genome, Pino Tubo and Cipon Remins Lahar. Yeah, it's a very beautiful presentation, ma'am. Okay, I want to back to Professor Adam. Actually, today you explained about the so much study case about the project of the Sabudam, but I just have a one question. Can you explain the one of the Sabudam based on the structure or something like that, sir? Thank you.
Yeah, please, Adam. Or maybe Dr. Reyes can.
I cannot capture your question.
Yeah, I cannot capture either. Sorry.
So what the question? What the question, please? Directly the question.
Actually, my question, Prof, can you explain the any Sabodam project in Indonesia, the unique, maybe based on the dimension of maybe based on the structure or something like that, sir?
Limit. What do you mean limit? Limit the structure? Limit the structure? Uniqueness. Local uniqueness? I don't know. What do you mean?
Are you talking about the feature of the structure? Or the uniqueness?
I mean like the design, sir.
Design.
Yeah, design.
So okay. Maybe I will answer not directly because actually you can make a radical design based on the ideal thinking, but we need also to see the past
The area, yeah.
in designing construction. So we think that modifying, little modifying, but give more beneficial for different aspect that maybe in the past not yet considered when we have new problems or new need. So that's my answer.
Yeah, okay, Sabul, I hope you satisfy or any additional clarification from Dr. Reyes, if you have any. If you don't have, I continue to. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Sorry about that. I was unmuted again. Maybe design dikes for how fast or how big the river channel is. So essentially it's not one
dari nota dinasnya.
It's not the one design for all river systems, I think. Even if I'm not an engineer, you need to understand how the river system works, what is the capacity of the discharge and things like that. So there's no good or bad design or a simple design or one design for each river system. You have to understand the river system and the watershed of that river system.
Yeah, I agree with that. So actually, Asabul is quite depend on the local condition, physical local condition. Maybe the type is different, the size is different, and all you need to say actually is just telling the people or authority that your structure is having specific capacity.
Yeah.
Only until specific capacity. If the load in the debris flow is exceeding the design, so the structure cannot fail. So I hope I'm right, Dr. Reyes. So everything is just
You're right. You're an engineer, sir.
Yeah, sometimes in many countries maybe the similar thing that
Yeah.
We have some kind of rule or regulation that the structure should stand for certain written period of the, for example, even the precipitation or the flood, yeah, written period. But again, in actual condition, maybe exceed the design flood or design precipitation. So it is maybe the structure become unstable. So I hope Asabu can join the center. Yeah, yeah, you are still young, and maybe you still have time to learn more. Yeah. I hope so. So I'm sorry. So I hope you satisfy Asabu. So before I stop, because it's already 12 o'clock, I am trying to offer to one participant from non-Asia Pacific region, because I have one from Sweden, if you still here, or several from Chile or Brazil, if you are still on the Zoom, the online, if you like to raise your hand. So I'm inviting you specially. No? Not there? Okay, yeah. So ladies and gentlemen, so I think before I stop, so thank you very much for all presenters, yeah, and all participants, both the online and the offline participants. So again, just to remind you that this webinar is not the last, because we have already, we have about 2.5 hours. Maybe it's not enough. So I'm sorry that the head of this office, Pak Ferry, maybe next time we'll conduct another occasion with much more, uh, I mean, something like continuation of this CEO, what is that? Yeah, Center of
For
Excellence for Water and Climate Resilience. Yeah, so thank you very much for your very active. So I'm very happy. And again, I'm very sorry because I cannot satisfy all of you. Yeah. So I was trying only my best. I hope it works well. Thank you very much. So I give the time to the committee. Let's applause together. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your insightful questions and active participations. I also extend my gratitude for the presenters for your great contributions today. Also, special thanks to Professor Joko Legono for being a great moderator today. Ladies and gentlemen, as we are near to the end of our event, we are grateful for invaluable contributions made by our presenters and moderator. And at this time, we would like to present gifts to express our gratitude. Therefore, with respect, I invite the head of the Sabo Technical Center, Mr. Ferry Mount Happy ST MTech, onto the stage to deliver the plaque of appreciation to presenters and moderator. First, let's give a warm round of applause to our wonderful moderator, Professor Joko Legono. Thank you, Professor Joko Legono, for your great support in making this an engaging session. So next, we will extend our big thanks to Professor Adam Pamuji Raharjo as one of the presenter for today's event. Please, so we really appreciate your valuable contribution, including the presenters that join us in online session. We have Engineer Lili Retno Cahyadiningsih MA, Mr. Masaharu Mizuguchi, Dr. Raditya Jati SSI MSI, Dr. Engineer Muhammad Rizal MSc, Professor Sutsumi Daiso, Dr. Perla J. Delos Rice. Once again, let's give a big round of applause to all our presenters and moderators. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope all of you found today's webinar to be informative and helpful for sediment-related disaster mitigation. Thank you, everyone, for joining us from everywhere you are, including the offline participant and over 700 participants in YouTube and Zoom platform. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we do hope you can join us in the next event in the series of events. Hopefully, through programs by COE for WCR, there will be good cooperation in the field of water and climate resilience in the Asia-Pacific region. I have some information for you. For the online participants, the e-certificate will be given and informed soon via WhatsApp group. And for the offline participants in this room, the certificate will be ready on the registration desk outside this room. And for on-site participants, after this, we will have a photograph session, so please stay for a while in this room. And for on-site participant also, we will have a lunch time after the photograph session, so please join us in meeting room on the right side of this room where you can enjoy your meal. So ladies and gentlemen, that marks the end of today's webinar. Have a great afternoon, and I hope to see you again on another occasion. Thank you.
Mohon izin Bapak Ibu sekalian, kami informasikan Bapak Ibu sekalian nanti bisa menikmati makan siang, yang dimana Bapak Ibu semuanya keluar dari ruangan itu di sebelah kanan untuk ruang makannya. Dan jika Bapak Ibu ingin sholat ataupun istirahat juga, nanti keluar dari gedung ini terdapat di sebelah kanan belok kiri lagi, mohon maaf belok kanan lagi, nanti di situ terdapat musola. Kalau misalnya Bapak Ibu mau menuju toilet, itu bisa keluar dari ruangan sebelah kiri. Seperti itu, terima kasih, selamat siang. Silakan Bapak Ibu untuk, mohon maaf, kita foto bersama terlebih dahulu. Berdiri semua Bapak Ibu. Baik, untuk Prof. Joko dan sebagainya boleh maju ke depan bersama Bapak Kepala Balai untuk melakukan foto bersama terlebih dahulu. Baik, kalau sudah kita akan foto bersama terlebih dahulu. Kita akan melakukan foto bersama formal terlebih dahulu ya Bapak Ibu. Baik, 1, 2, 3. Baik, tangannya semangat Pak ya, terkepal. Baik, oke. 1, 2, 3. Baik, sudah cukup. Terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Selamat menikmati makan siangnya dan juga kami informasikan nanti Bapak Ibu bisa mengambil sertifikat di meja registrasi karena Bapak Ibu nanti akan mendapatkan sertifikat secara offline yang ada di meja registrasi. Terima kasih dan selamat siang.
Berada dalam area ring of fire menjadikan Indonesia memiliki ancaman bencana alam yang beragam. Erupsi, banjir lahar, banjir bandang, dan tanah longsor. Tercatat 127 gunung aktif, menjadi fakta bahwa kita harus bersiap dengan datangnya bencana.
Tuh kan Sabodam 56. Yang ada sekarang baru 2. Dan saya perintahkan tahun ini harus dimulai.
Untuk itu, Balai Teknik Sabo hadir dengan teknologi terdepan dalam pengendalian bencana sedimen di Indonesia. Teknologi Sabo diperkenalkan pada tahun 1958 melalui kerjasama antara Indonesia dan Jepang untuk menangani banjir lahar akibat letusan gunung berapi. Kunjungan Kaisar Jepang Naruhito menegaskan kelanjutan kerjasama ini yang kemudian diperkuat dengan pembentukan Center of Excellence dalam acara 10 World Water Forum. Balai Teknik Sabo memberikan akses teknis pada berbagai bencana sedimen dengan wilayah kerja seluruh Indonesia. Kami senantiasa mengembangkan berbagai jenis teknologi pengendalian sedimen. Sabodam modular berhasil melindungi jembatan, area persawahan, dan pemukiman warga. Teknologi ini terbukti memiliki konstruksi yang lebih kuat, dapat menghemat keuangan negara hingga 40% untuk pemeliharaan, serta mengurangi waktu konstruksi hingga 66% dibanding dengan sabodam konvensional. Sabodam modular ini telah direplikasi di Sungai Milango Daa dan Sungai Peboya. Teknologi ini juga direncanakan untuk direplikasi di Sungai Ciberang, Banten, Sungai Masamba, Rada, serta Sungai Binoang di Sulawesi Selatan. Untuk menjamin bahwa konstruksi sabodam berfungsi dengan baik dan mampu melindungi masyarakat, kami melaksanakan kegiatan inspeksi sabodam guna memastikan kinerja dari infrastruktur. Keterlibatan kami dalam pengendalian sedimen didukung dengan fasilitas layanan laboratorium terakreditasi. Kami berkomitmen terhadap transparansi kepada pelanggan dengan tetap menjaga asas kerahasiaan negara yang diwujudkan dalam pemasangan CCTV di laboratorium sebagai bentuk pertanggungjawaban kami jika terdapat pengaduan pelanggan. Laboratorium kami telah menyediakan fitur registrasi, tracking pengujian, sampai pengunduhan laporan hasil uji secara online. Pembayaran pengujian dibayarkan langsung ke kas negara melalui aplikasi Simponi. Pentingnya pemahaman terkait bencana dan penanganan sedimen perlu disebarluaskan kepada masyarakat luas. Kami mengembangkan Sinau Sabo untuk memberikan ruang bagi masyarakat yang ingin belajar dalam bentuk magang, bimbingan tugas akhir, kunjungan, atau diskusi tentang teknologi Sabo yang terbuka untuk seluruh lapisan masyarakat, baik dalam maupun luar negeri. Kami juga menginisiasi Children of Sabo, yang mewakili anak-anak yang tinggal di lereng Gunung Api Merapi untuk melibatkan mereka dalam menyuarakan pentingnya teknologi Sabo di acara 10 World Water Forum 2024. Transformasi digital telah kami lakukan untuk memudahkan masyarakat dalam mengakses layanan dengan pengembangan dan penerapan aplikasi. Sobat Sabo, aplikasi pelayanan publik satu pintu untuk dapat mengakses informasi dan layanan, termasuk pelayanan permohonan data, pengembangan aplikasi LIUS, Landslide Early Warning System, dan sistem pemantauan lahar SIPERLA, dan juga penerapan sistem pemerintah berbasis elektronik atau SPBE. Sebagai bentuk pengawasan menuju pelayanan publik yang prima, kami menyediakan channel pengaduan bagi masyarakat. Sejak pencanangan zona integritas, pelayanan publik Balai Teknik Sabo terus meningkat dan mencapai 3.058 pelayanan dengan predikat indeks kepuasan masyarakat A atau sangat baik.
Pembelajarannya sangat menyenangkan untuk anak-anak.
Pelayanan dari Balai Sabo sangat responsif.
Terima kasih para teknik Sabo.
Seandainya tidak ada proyek Balai Sabo, ya mungkin jembatan ini sudah tergerus.
Balai Teknik Sabo kedatangan tamu istimewa pada Rabu 21 Juni 2023, yaitu Kaisar Jepang Hironomiya Naruhito. Ditemani oleh Menteri Pekerjaan Umum dan Perumahan Rakyat, Basuki Hadimulyono, Kaisar menyaksikan simulasi uji hidrolika di Laboratorium Hidrolika Balai Teknik Sabo. Menurut Menteri Basuki, Kaisar merasa senang. Laboratorium yang dibangun melalui kerjasama Indonesia dan Jepang sejak tahun 1958 ini masih berfungsi dan terjaga dengan baik. Untuk itu Kaisar berharap kerjasama khususnya di bidang teknologi Sabo akan berlanjut, mengingat masih banyak kawasan yang memerlukan bangunan Sabo untuk pengendalian sedimen.
Naruhito ini interest pribadinya sebenarnya di water resources, tentang keairan. Ya, ketemu beliau di HELP misalnya, high level expert untuk disaster. Kemudian di World Water Forum di Meksiko beliau hadir, selalu beliau hadir tentang pengelolaan air. Jadi waktu beliau ada mau kunjungan ke Indonesia, dia ingin lihat Sabo. Sabo ini kerjasama Indonesia-Jepang dimulai sejak tahun 1958 dalam rangka Colombo Plan, yang namanya Vertical Sabo Trade.
Recording stopped.
Tidak hanya Indonesia, tapi untuk negara-negara selatan, India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Filipina, Thailand, Papua Nugini, Malaysia. Di training di sini tentang Sabo, ada asramanya juga di sana.
Halo Sobat Sabo, tahukah kalian kalau bangunan Sabo atau Sabodam tidak hanya berfungsi sebagai penahan banjir sedimen, tetapi juga memiliki fungsi yang lain. Misalnya saja, Sabodam di Kranggan Sudimoro atau yang terkenal dengan sebutan air terjun Watu Purbo ini sudah menjadi destinasi wisata sejak tahun 2019. Sabodam yang berdiri megah di Desa Sudimoro, Kabupaten Magelang, sejak tahun 1975 ini bukan hanya menjadi perisai alam, melainkan juga tawarkan keajaiban indah berupa 6 tingkat air terjun yang memukau. Jika cuaca cerah, pengunjung bisa menikmati panorama Gunung Merapi yang menghiasi latar belakang alam ini.
Selamat pagi, kami sekarang sedang berada di bangunan Sabo di Dusun Kranggan Lor di Desa Sudimoro. Pada kali ini kita menuju lokasi sekitar 1 jam dari kota Jogja. Kami sekarang bersama dengan Kepala Dukung dengan Bapak Jumrotin. Bapak Jumrotin akan berbincang sedikit mengenai bangunan Sabu. Selamat pagi Pak. Bagaimana Pak dari kondisi atau fungsi bangunan Sabu di sini seperti apa Pak? Digunakan oleh masyarakat untuk apa dan bagaimana Pak?
Yang untuk sekarang itu ada tempat rekreasi, itu tempat rekreasi Watu Kobo istilahnya, rekreasi Watu Kobo. Yang untuk atasnya ini alhamdulillah untuk pengairan Pak.
Oh
ini
iya,
kan
iya,
yang sebelah untuk pengairan, alhamdulillah untuk Dagatlor ini untuk pengairan sawah terpenuhi.
Jadi seperti kita ketahui ada beberapa fungsi bangunan Sabu. Selain mengendalikan banjir lahar atau debris, ada beberapa fungsi tambahan diantaranya untuk jalan, bisa digunakan di atasnya untuk dilewati jalan. Namanya off-grid. Kemudian ini seperti diceritakan tadi ya, bisa digunakan untuk irigasi dan juga bahan baku, gitu Pak.